So, how do you play a drum roll? Well, in this episode, I'm going to give you a couple of exercises as well as approaches and techniques in order to help you do just that. Welcome in for episode 5 of Swiss Cheese and Beats. Hey guys, welcome in for another episode of Swiss Cheese and Beats. My name is Daniel Mascari, and here you're going to find videos to help you get better, faster in percussion performance. Today we're going to cover a very important role, and that is how to play a drum roll. In order to do so, there are a couple of fundamental things that we have to be able to do. The first one is be able to execute a diddle. And what a diddle is it's simply two notes played on the same hand like so. So a drum roll would be comprised of diddles played consecutively off the right and the left hand, creating this rhythm. Now, in order to play diddles correctly and consistently, there are two exercises that are going to help you develop this. The first exercise is called A-B, and this is a 16th note based exercise where the first half of the exercise is known as the A section and the second half would be the B section. Now, as we get into more complex rhythms, it's very important that you're able to count these rhythms aloud with a metronome. In this case, what I'm going to do is click the downbeat with my sticks and count the rhythm out loud. This is something that's going to help you tremendously, especially if you have a hard time feeling the beat consistently. So, once again, the downbeats will be in my sticks, and I'll count the rhythm out loud. The first two measures of A-B is the same rhythm, but the first measure will be played on the right hand, and the second measure would be played on the left hand. So here's how the first two measures would be counted. 1 E, a 2, and a, E and 4, and 1 E, a 2, and a, E and 4, and. The third and fourth measure would be a 2-count variation of this first rhythm, and again, you would play 2 counts on the right hand, 2 counts on the left hand, and then you would repeat that entire measure for the fourth measure. So the third and fourth measure would be counted like so. 1 E, a 2, and 3 E, a 4, and 1 E, a 2, and 3 E, a 4, and. So together, the A section will sound like this. The B section is going to be a very similar rhythm, except instead of starting with a 16th note like we did in the A section, we're going to start with an 8th note. So the first two measures of the B section would be counted like so. 1 and a, E and 3 E, a 4, and 1 and a, E and 3 E, a 4, and. The final two bars of this exercise will be very much like the third and fourth of the A section. It's going to be a 2-count variation of the B rhythm played twice on the right and the left hand. Only this time, because we're at the end of the exercise, we're going to add a downbeat at the end to complete the phrase. That rhythm would be counted like so. 1 and a, E and 3 and a, E and 1 and a, E and 3 and a, E and 1. So together the B section is going to sound like this. So all together now, here's A-B. Now, if I were to play this exercise faster, there's something you need to be made aware of. When I play a diddle in my right hand, I control how close together the two notes of the diddle are, or how far apart the two notes of the diddle are, with my fulcrum and how much pressure I apply. What I mean by pressure is that if you were to pinch someone, the harder you squeeze, the more pressure you're putting behind it, which in turn will make it hurt more. So in this case of the fulcrum, the more pressure you apply, you're squeezing the stick a tad harder, when what that's going to do is that's going to put the two notes that create the diddle closer together, like so. If I loosen that pressure up, then the two notes of that diddle would then become wider. Now, just so you know, when you loosen pressure up, you're going to feel your middle finger and even your ring finger have a little bit more to do with playing the double or the diddle in the right hand. The amount of pressure that you apply to either play a closed or more open diddle is something that has to be felt. I can't tell you to apply a certain amount of pounds of pressure because we have no way of measuring that. So it's going to take practice and experimentation on your part in order for you to feel how much pressure you have to apply in order to play a diddle at whatever speed you desire. Now, just as we discussed in the right hand, the fulcrum in the left hand has the same responsibility in that it controls how closed or open our diddles are in our left hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play AB for you again a little bit faster, and because I'm playing faster, the rhythm then compresses. So in order for me to execute this correctly, I'm going to have to apply a little bit more pressure to my fulcrums in order to play the rhythm in time. Again, don't be fooled into thinking that because it's faster, you have to squeeze a ton. As we discussed in episode 4, you're actually going to have to relax even more to play faster. One last thing I'm going to say about AB. In episode 4, I discussed how we learned eights and bucks and how those were 2 of the 3 most critical exercises. AB is what I consider to be the 3rd most important exercise. If you master 8 on a hand, bucks, and AB, you're going to be able to play a lot of what gets put in front of you. Now granted, there's so many more things to learn which we're going to get to, but the stronger that foundation is with those basic fundamentals, again, the further you're going to go in the shorter amount of time. The second exercise is more of a roll exercise, and this exercise is called gallop. This entire exercise is comprised of 2 rhythms. The first rhythm is 2 16th notes followed by an 8th note, counted as 1 and every time you see this rhythm, you're going to play it as right, right, left. The second rhythm you're going to see in this exercise is an 8th note followed by 2 16th notes counted as 1 and a. This rhythm will be played with the sticking right, left, left every time you see it. So the first measure of this exercise is the first rhythm played 4 times, and it'll be counted as 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. The second measure will be rhythm 2, and that would be counted as 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a. So here are the first 2 measures of gallop. The third and the fourth measure of gallop are going to be exactly the same. Each measure will be 2 counts of rhythm 1 and 2 counts of rhythm 2. What's going to happen is as you move from measure 3 to measure 4, you're going to hit what I call the turnaround. And that's when you play double left immediately followed by double right, creating this rhythm. So here's measure 3 and measure 4 of gallop, and pay special attention to the turnaround. Measure 5 and 6 are also exactly the same, but in this case, we're going to play each rhythm once and alternate for a total of 2 measures. So here's measures 5 and 6. So together now, here are the first 6 measures of gallop. The final 2 measures of gallop is more of a 2-bar tag, where it's a total of 8 counts of 16th notes. These 2 measures of 16th notes will be played with the sticking right, right, left, left, and there would be 1 quarter note at the end to complete the exercise. So here are the last 2 measures of gallop. So all together now, here's gallop. Something that you need to be aware of when it comes to playing rolls consistently is knowing what muscle groups to use and what muscle groups not to use. When you're playing at a slower tempo, you're going to hold on a little bit more to the sticks. You're not going to squeeze, but there's going to be more points of finger contact on the stick in order for you to have more control over the rhythm you're playing. As I get faster, my fulcrum definitely stays in place, but my fingers in my right hand open up slightly, allowing a space for the stick to pivot from my fulcrum in order to play a diddle consistently. In my left hand, my ring finger will come off the stick when I'm playing diddles continuously. This will allow me to keep the momentum of the stick moving and give me the greatest chance to be consistent. So here's gallop one more time at a little bit faster tempo. Question of the day, what part of diddles or rolls do you find the most challenging? Leave that answer down below in the comments so we can get a discussion going on this. If you happen to enjoy the video, please consider giving us a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Thanks again for tuning in. See you next time.